What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Lions video. Now, Julian Okwara is a very interesting player on the Detroit Lions. He's a player that is not getting nearly as much buzz or excitement that he did in his rookie season, being a third-round selection out of Notre Dame. Julian Okwara came into the Detroit Lions organization as the 67th overall selection in the 2020 NFL Draft and had a lot of excitement, a lot of buzz, and still does have a lot of high upside and potential that Lions fans should be excited about. However, for one reason or another, Julian Okwara's rookie season did not go to plan. He was injury prone, he did not get on the field as often as many expected, and really didn't produce at a high enough level to justify the 67th overall pick. However, there is reason to still believe in Julian. There is reasons to still be excited about his sophomore campaign, and in today's video, I want to talk about Julian Okwara. I want to talk about the reasons he may have struggled his rookie season, the reasons he's going to turn it around his sophomore season, and all of the potential, and really try to justify and really talk and go in depth about this second-year player that has seemingly been forgot about. Now, before we get into the videos and before we get into talking about second-year pass rusher Julian Okwara, if you are new to the channel and you are enjoying the content, please consider liking the videos and subscribing to the channel. It takes just 2 seconds out of your day to do so. It is quick, it is free, and it is incredibly easy to do, and you would be helping the channel out more than you could possibly know. So if you could do that, take those 2 seconds to like and subscribe. I would be incredibly appreciative for it. But with all that being said, and without any further ado, let's get right into talking about Julian Okwara, the second-year pass rusher, and why his sophomore campaign will be miles better than his rookie one.
So look at Anthony Ryder from South Lyon, Michigan, recently selected as the Lions 2020 Fan of the Year. He has a passion about sports broadcasting.
With the 112th selection in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions select Amon-Ra St. Brown, wide receiver, USC. One pride, baby! Yeah!
Now, Julian Okwara, as I mentioned, was the 67th overall selection in the 2020 NFL Draft and came into the NFL with a lot of high expectations from Lions fans. Being a 6'4", 252-pound pass rusher at just 23 years old, he played 4 seasons and 35 games for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, where he totaled 79 tackles, 24 tackles for loss, 15.5 sacks, 2 interceptions, a pass defended, 4 forced fumbles, and a fumble recovery. Now, of course, having those statistics, having his athletic upside and potential, and being a high third-round selection, many people had very high expectations for Julian Okwara coming in to the NFL. Now, for one reason or another, those expectations were not met, as Julian Okwara never really lived up to the hype of he did not really live up to the hype that everybody gave him coming out of Notre Dame. Now, that is not to say that Julian Okwara didn't play well. Julian Okwara, in my opinion, played okay. He had trouble staying on the field, he had trouble with health, but when he was on the field, I didn't think he played particularly poorly. In week 1, he got very limited snaps, but was a big part of what should have been a game-winning sack and forced fumble and fumble recovery by the Detroit Lions. He was a player that kind of closed off the back door, made it so Trubisky couldn't scramble out, set the edge. Trubisky tried to go up the seam and tried to take up, I believe it would be the B or the C gap. Julian Okwara did a nice spin move, got right back in Trubisky's face, caused him to backpedal, caused him to go right back into Trey Flowers, who got the sack, forced the fumble, and eventually recovered it. Although that's not going to show up on the stat sheet, Julian Okwara made that play. Julian Okwara was the reason that strip sack and that fumble recovery was made, and should have been the reason that the Detroit Lions won that football game. Julian Okwara also had multiple pressures throughout the season as well, multiple ones versus the Jacksonville Jaguars, where he and Romeo Okwara almost met together to sack Gardner Minshew, who just barely got the pass off, but it was an incomplete pass forced because of Julian and Romeo's pressures. So to say that he statistically didn't live up to the hype, I think is valid, but to say that Julian Okwara played poorly a season ago, I think is not necessarily a fair thing to say. Julian only ended up playing in 99 snaps across 6 games and only totaled 3 total tackles, but one of those was a tackle for loss. Now, Julian Okwara does have a lot of upside still. Julian Okwara is still the same player, still the same third-round pick that came out of Notre Dame with all the athletic upside and all the athletic athletic potential. And to me, he kind of reminds me a little bit of Jaguars pass rusher Josh Allen. Now, Josh Allen came out, I believe, in the 2019 NFL class and was a top 10 pick, selected as the 7th overall selection by the Jacksonville Jaguars, and came in and had a phenomenal rookie season. Now, of course, Julian Okwara is not the same player as Josh Allen. He's not the same caliber player. Of course, being selected 60 picks after 60 pick difference between Julian Okwara and Josh Allen. However, I think they have very similar traits. They are very similar measurables. They tested very similarly from a physical perspective and have the same qualities. They have the same upside and I think very similar potential as one another. Now, in his rookie season, Josh Allen's defensive coordinator was Todd Wash. Now, Todd Wash may be a familiar name to Lions fans as he was just signed as the defensive line coach for the Detroit Lions, meaning that he will have a chance to work with and develop Julian Okwara in the same way that he worked with and developed Josh Allen in his rookie season. Now, Josh Allen in his rookie season played in 16 games but only started 4 and played a total of 634 defensive snaps. Now, in those 634 defensive snaps, Josh Allen totaled 44 tackles, 11 tackles for loss, 10.5 sacks, 23 quarterback hits, 2 forced fumbles, and 39 pressures. Julian Okwara has an opportunity to recreate that magic. Julian Okwara has the opportunity to have a big standout performance in his sophomore year, and I believe Todd Wash is going to be a big reason as to why Julian Okwara takes a big step in year 2. Now, I know Todd Wash is technically the defensive line coach, and Julian Okwara is technically an outside linebacker, but I would be very, very skeptical, and I would be very concerned if our outside linebackers, who are going to be the primary edge rushers this year, don't work with a defensive line coach, right? I'd be very shocked if Julian Okwara, Romeo Okwara, Trey Flowers, and Austin Bryant don't end up working with Todd Wash at some point this season, whether it just be because of overlap, because of pass rush, or maybe they just join the defensive line as a whole, even though they are technically linebackers, whether the outside linebacker coach and Todd Wash work together on a bunch of things. I don't know how that's going to work entirely, but I would be very surprised if I'd be very surprised if Julian Okwara and Todd Wash had zero interaction throughout the season, and I would be very surprised if Todd Wash had no impact on the performance of our outside linebackers / primary edge rushers. If Julian Okwara is 100% healthy this season, there is no reason that he can't have a standout season. There is no reason that Julian Okwara in his second year cannot emulate what Josh Allen did in his rookie season. Now, is Julian Okwara going to come in and play 650 snaps almost for the Detroit Lions this season? I would be very doubtful of that. I would guess he would play slightly less than that. And is it possible that Julian Okwara comes in and gets 10.5 sacks his sophomore campaign? It's possible, but I think it is less likely. Now, I believe that Julian Okwara can have a season like Josh Allen, but maybe not quite up to that standard, right? Maybe 8 tackles for loss, maybe, 9 sacks, 20 quarterback hits versus 23, 1 forced fumble instead of 2, 30 pressures instead of 39, right? Similar production on a less snap basis, right? Similar production per snap, but just getting less snaps because Trey Flowers is likely going to play over him, because Romeo is likely going to play over him. He's not going to see as many snaps or as much opportunity as Josh Allen, but we've seen Todd Wash develop this type of player before. An athlete, a linebacker, a versatile player, a big body, athletic, high potential guy that was drafted relatively high in the NFL draft. Todd Wash has worked with and developed those players before. He did it with Josh Allen, where Josh Allen saw success his rookie season, and I see no reason that he can't do the same and work his magic once again on Julian Okwara. Not to mention, Julian Okwara is coming back healthier. He's coming back with a chip on his shoulder, and for the first time in his NFL career, he is going to get a proper training camp and a proper preseason to really get caught up to speed and really get competition versus NFL players that are not his teammates or family members. Not to mention his brother, Romeo Okwara, is coming off a 10+ sack season, coming off double-digit sacks, can help him develop, even if they're not necessarily at the facility together. Of course, they can watch film together at the same house. They can go over and just, obviously spend time as family, but also work together as football players and teammates. Romeo, I think, could be a very big aspect and a very big asset for Julian Okwara's development as well, and they're pushing each other to get better. They've talked about both both working and both striving for 10 sack seasons, they both said that they want the other one to succeed more than them. Julian Okwara says that his goal is for Romeo and himself to both get 10 plus sacks this season. He is talking about matching Romeo's production from a season ago. And speaking of Romeo Okwara, his brother, Julian's brother, did take a year or two plus a coaching change, plus a defensive coordinator, defensive line coach change to really find his footing in the NFL. Romeo didn't find a lot of success and didn't see significant playing time until his third year and second team in the NFL. Now, of course, Julian is only going into his second year and is still on the same team, but the coaching staff is entirely different. Romeo didn't find his footing until the second coaching staff he got with, and Julian is now going into his second coaching staff, his second defensive line coach and second defensive coordinator that I believe are both better than who he previously had to work with. So if Romeo Okwara, his brother, is anything to indicate, Julian Okwara could see success this season, or at the very least see success next season when it gets to his third year, when he finally finds his footing and finds his place in the NFL. Not all the time do rookies find their place immediately. Not every rookie in the NFL had a phenomenal Rookie of the Year-esque season. Romeo surely didn't, and Romeo just got a 3-year extension for $40 million. Darius Slay did not have the greatest rookie season and turned out to be an all-pro type cornerback. Just because a rookie doesn't necessarily play the greatest his rookie year doesn't mean it's time to give up on him, and Julian Okwara is a prime example of that. Yes, his rookie season did not go phenomenally. Yes, a lot of people have kind of forgotten and written off Julian Okwara as a bench/backup player that will get very minimal time and have a very minimal impact on the Lions. But that is not necessarily going to be the case. I believe Julian has a very good second year. I believe him and Romeo push each other to get better, and Julian Okwara having a far healthier season this year, staying on the field and being more available this season, sees more playing time, sees more snap, and as a result, with his new defensive line coach and with his new defensive coordinator, his statistics, his impact on the game, and his playing time all improve in 2021. But with all that being said, that is all I got for you guys today. Of course, that is just my opinion. I'd be very curious to hear what you guys think about Julian Okwara down in the comments below. Do you think he still has that potential? Are you expecting big things out of Julian in year 2? Or are you one of those people that has kind of written him off and moved on to the next big time player and the next big name in the Lions organization? I'd be very curious to hear what you guys think about Julian's progression and your expectations for Julian Okwara going forward. But with all that being said, that is all for you guys today. Thank you all so much for watching the videos. And as always, and until next time, go Lions.